So I'm streaming live right now on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be sharing my screen with everybody. So if you can see my screen, let me know. Make sure that you are muted so that the network does not interrupt. If you are not speaking, please be muted. If you're not speaking, please be muted. If you are not muted, the problem is you will not be able to hear me. And that way, that might affect the quality of the sound from my end. So I want to start sharing my screen right now. Let me know if you can see this screen of mine. Let me know if you can see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Right. Okay, I want to start right now. Can you all see my screen? Please let me know if you can see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Screen, not scream. So first of all, I say that my name is Bisola-Mariam, and I'm so happy to meet you. This is my beautiful face. At least I should be proud of who I am. I mean, this face that you see here has gone through so much, but we don't give up. We don't give up. We keep pushing until we get to where we need to go. So I want you to tell me your name, where your location is, and what you hope to take away from this session. I want you to jump into the chat and tell me, oh, my name is so. I am from Ghana, I'm from Zimbabwe, I'm joining live from Kenya, and this is what I hope to gain from the session. So I want to see the chat room bubbling. I will be reading the chats right now. So I want you to be involved in this session. Tell me your name, tell me where your location is, and what you hope to take away from this session. So I'm checking the chats right now. Okay, there's Delancey, a dentist from Ghana. What do you hope to take away from today's session, Delancey? So Dennis is from Kenya. Delancey is from Kenya also. Who else? Please, I want you all. Okay, Kenya Eldoret. Interesting. I do not know. The only thing I know about Kenya is there's Kenya. I do not even know that there are different places. It's just so funny how we make assumptions. Okay, Noah from Lagos. Okay, Noah from Lagos, Nigeria. Who else? Temi from Nigeria. Make sure you write your name, where you're joining in from, and what you hope to take away from this session. It's very important that I know what you want to learn, so that everything that I'm saying will be connecting back to the very thing that you hope to take away from this session. The goal is not to talk, but to actually address your specific concerns. So tell me your name, where you're joining in from, and your location. And of course, rather, what you hope to take away from the session. I know that others are still going to join, definitely, but make sure that you who is here, you do not leave until the very end. Awesome. So I only got responses from 3 people. Okay, there's Robert, Robert from Kenya. Okay, let me see. Robert is interested in Islamiyat from Nigeria. There's Sharon from Kenya. Someone wants to know about I want to learn first what I need to do, or what I'm needed to do to work abroad. Okay. Let's see. Make sure you write why you're here. Okay. Robert wants to get a scholarship opportunity in America to further his studies in biochemistry. Please make sure you drop as many information as possible, so that when I'm talking, I can say, oh, Temi wants this, Sharon wants this, Robert wants this, Abiodun wants that. That way I'm able to actually address your concerns. So it's not like I'm just talking to myself. I really need to personalize this session. Okay, Delancey wants to know what is needed to study abroad. Dennis wants to get a scholarship in applied mathematics in the US also. Islamiyat has HND in chemical engineering, and she wants to know her chances of studying abroad. So for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to stop the this right now, and then I'll jump into the second part. So thank you all for coming. So the next thing is, let's get into it. I'm going to be teaching for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'm going to use the remaining part of the session to answer as many questions as possible. So why am I here, and what do I hope to achieve today? My goal is to teach you how you can relocate abroad. So the big question is, how do I relocate abroad, right? So today I'm going to be teaching you the unpopular way to relocate abroad, but yet the fastest, the cheapest, and trusted method. I repeat, I am going to be teaching you how to relocate abroad through the most or the unpopular way, but yet the fastest, cheapest, and trusted method. So how exactly do you begin? There are 6 steps to relocating abroad through study. So, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, I want to relocate abroad, I want to study abroad. But a lot of times we focus on migrating or the idea of migration. Not many people think about the idea of going abroad to study. So yes, it is possible to migrate to study abroad, to live abroad, or relocate abroad. It is also possible to migrate abroad through study. So studying abroad is oftentimes the not so popular way, yet the cheapest, yet one of the most trusted methods to relocate abroad. Does that make sense? I'd like to know if you're following me in the charts. Please let me know if you're following me in the charts. We're talking about one of the most trusted, yet unpopular, and very cheap way to relocate to study abroad, right? Very unpopular, quite cheap, and of course, not many people know about it, yet it remains one of the most trusted ways to relocate abroad. So today, I will be talking about 6 steps to relocating abroad through study. In order to avoid distraction, I'm going to stop my video so that I can focus on the slide so you don't see my face, but pay attention to my voice and what I'm saying. In between, I would bring back my video, but I really want you to focus more on my voice and what you're seeing than my own face. Does that make sense? Do you want me to turn off my video? Good. Yes or no? Please drop a comment in the chats. Let me know if you want me to do that in the chats. Awesome. Some people already nodded in affirmation. So 6 steps to relocating abroad through study. 6 steps to relocating abroad through study. The very first step is this. How do you begin? And so I'm going to talk about step number 1. Okay? Step number 1, short or long-term plan. You need to know what your plan is. Is it a short-term plan or a long-term plan? Is it a short-term plan or a long-term plan? What do I mean by short or long-term plan? Some people want to study abroad, yet they are not ready to proceed immediately. So for such people, they want to leave to study abroad in the next 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, or 3 years, or even 2 years. So for such people, it is a long-term plan. Does that make sense? For such people, it is what? A long-term plan. It is a long-term plan. Now, for those who are looking to study abroad in the next 6 months to 1 year, they belong to the group of people looking to study abroad within the short-term period, right? Within the short-term period. Now, you need to ask yourself, where do you belong? And the way to actually decipher where you belong is to actually get clear on what it means for you to study abroad in the short term and what actually qualifies you to consider yourself to be in the short-term category, or what you need to put together to apply to study abroad in the long term, and what you think positions you to be in the long-term category. So let me drop some very quick, checklist information. So ask yourself this question. Before you can belong to the short-term category, do you currently have a first degree? Drop that question in, answer in the chat whether you have your first degree or not. So do you have a first degree? If you do have a first degree, or you are in your final year of your first degree, then you can consider yourself to be in that short-term category. Do you have a high school certificate or a high school transcript? As in, do you currently have a high school results and you are aiming to study a degree, not a graduate degree, right? But you have a high school results. That way, you still belong to the short-term category. So let me repeat. You belong to the short-term category if, number one, you have a degree already, a master's degree already, or a high school result already. I can't take questions yet. So if you have questions, just pause your questions. I'm going to be taking questions soon. So if you have a high school result and you hope to apply for a degree, then you are in the short-term category. If you have a first degree and you want to apply for a master's, you are in the short-term category. If you have a master's already and you're aiming for a PhD, then you're in the short-term category. Maybe you already have a degree and you want to apply for another degree. Guess what? You still belong to the short-term category. Now, if you're just leaving primary school or just getting into secondary school, you do not belong to the short-term category. Does that make sense? Perhaps you are in the second year of your first degree, or you are in the second year of your high school program. You do not belong to the short-term category. Does that make sense? You belong to the what? The long-term category. Because you do not have a certificate or a degree or a transcript result that you can position for the next application. Does that make sense? Let me have your responses in the chat. Whether it's a yes or a no, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat before I move on to the next point. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Okay, so let's move on. Awesome. I want people to respond, though. I want as many folks as possible to be responding because that's the way you know you're here. Thank you. So let's go to the next question, to the next checklist. Choose an application term. Choose an application term. What do I mean by application term? An application term is that season in which you want to apply. So there are different times in the year that you can apply to study abroad. Okay? There are different times in the year that you can apply to study abroad. There are different times in the year that you can apply to study abroad. Okay? There is the spring term. I want someone to write spring. There's the spring as in S-P-R-I-N-G. I want someone to type spring in the chat, right? There is the fall term. The fall term. Fall as in when you fall down. F-A-L-L. There's the fall term. And there is the summer. This is the time that everybody likes to hear. Summer. S-U-M-M-E-R. Now, I'm not going to talk about the summer because for international students like you and I, we do not belong to the summer category because a lot of times, most schools abroad do not have funding to admit international students during the fall, during the summer. Does that make sense? Many schools abroad do not have funding for people looking to study abroad in the summer term. So for people like us, what we should aim for or position ourselves for is what? Is the what? The summer and the what? The spring rather, and the fall term. The what? The spring and the fall term. The spring and the fall term. The spring and the fall term. Does that make sense? The spring and the what? The fall term. These are the periods that international students like you and I should aim for. Okay? These are the seasons that you and I, as international students, need to aim for. Make sense? The summer is not for us. Yes, it's a time of fun, but it is not a time for us to be able to get funding. It doesn't work. So the spring and the fall are the seasons for us to apply. Now, let's talk about what the spring and the fall terms are about. What is the spring semester? The spring semester usually happens somewhere between January to April of every year. So when you apply and you are admitted to resume in the spring, the meaning is you are resuming in January, right, of February of an academic year. Now, when you want to position yourself to be able to resume in the spring, you do not apply in the spring. You apply earlier, late fall, in order to be able to resume in the spring. Let me make this more specific. So you are hoping to resume at a study destination between January and February of 2022, right? It makes sense that from now, the month of September, or perhaps from October, November, December, you begin to position yourself and apply to schools so that by the spring term, which is January, February, you will be resuming to study abroad. I hope this makes sense. Let me know if someone understands what I just said about spring. In your own words, describe for me what the spring semester is and how to get into the spring semester. Drop your responses in the chat. I want to see those feedbacks. Describe for me in 2 sentences, what is the spring semester and how do you qualify to say that you have been admitted to resume in the spring? When do you resume? When do you apply? Describe that in 2 to 3 short sentences in the chat so that you know that you are internalizing what I'm teaching you. Let me have your responses in the chat, please. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the feedbacks in the chats. Let me see. Let me have your responses in the chat. For those of you who have been listening, let me have your responses in the chat. You start, okay, for spring semester, one applies between October, November, December, and resumes between January, February, March. No, you resume in January. Don't get between January and February is when you resume. Actually, you resume in January. Let's leave it as January. So when you resume in that January, your coursework begins or your academic endeavor or journey begins from that January up till the end of April. So the actual semester begins in January. So you can actually resume in January. So you apply somewhere around October, November, December. Exactly. And it is better. Thank you, Abiodun. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, everyone, for your feedbacks. Thank you, Islamiat. Thank you, Oluseun. Thank you, Temiloluwa, Olaleye. Thank you, everyone, for your feedback. So let's proceed. I hope now that when somebody says to you, what is the spring semester? Where should you apply to get in the spring? You know when to apply. You know what the spring semester is, okay? Does that make sense? Good. Now let's go to fall. Let's talk about the fall. Let's talk about the fall. Fall. Someone should type fall in the chats. Someone should type fall in the chats. Type fall as in F-A-L-L in the chats. The fall semester. The fall semester is that time of the year that is like the best time to apply because funding to study abroad are usually much more available in the fall. Unlike the spring. Yes, funding is always available in the spring, but there are more funding in the fall than there are in the spring. I want someone to say that in the chat. There are more funding in the fall than there are in the spring. Say that in the chat. There are more funding in the fall than there are in the spring. There are more funding in the fall than they are in the spring, right? There are more funding in the fall than they are in the spring. Now let's talk about when is the fall semester? The fall semester starts from August and ends in December. The fall semester begins in August and ends in December. So when is the best time to actually apply to get admitted for the fall? The best time to apply to get admitted for fall is what? Late fall and early spring. Let me make this more specific. So the best time to apply to be admitted for fall, which of course begins in August and lasts till December, right? Now, when should you apply to get into a fall program? The best time to apply to get into a program that begins in the fall is to apply somewhere in December, somewhere between October, November, December, up till January, February, March. I'll repeat that. For the fall, especially because the fall season gives you access to more funding, more opportunities, yet funding or opportunities during the fall are usually very competitive. It is better to begin to pitch for fall admission from the month of October, November, December, up till January, February, March of the following year, or the year of the fall that you hope to resume. Let me give you a case study. So Bisola-Mariam wants to study abroad, and she is applying to study in the spring. Now, Bisola should begin to apply from October, November, December, so that by December she gets a decision, and then by January she leaves, or by December she leaves and resumes in January for the spring semester. If Bisola-Mariam wants to apply for fall admission, Bisola-Mariam should equally begin to pitch her application from when? October, November, December, up till January, February, March, so that she receives her admission decision before summer, and then she would plan to leave her country late summer, around June, July, so that she can resume the fall semester, which will begin in August, or which normally begins in August. So you can personalize this and put your name and say, okay, Cynthia wants to study in the spring. Oh, Abiodun wants to study in the fall. Oh, Delancey wants to study in the spring or fall. Islamiat wants to study in the spring or fall. When you personalize it, it makes it more specific, and you understand that you have clarity. So in 2 to 3 short sentences, I want everyone to describe in the chat what is the fall semester. I want you to describe in the chat what is the fall semester. What is the fall semester? What is the fall semester? Describe in the chat what the fall semester is. Fall semester is the best time to apply. There are more funding in the fall than they are in the spring. It begins in August and ends in December. Good. So when is best to apply for a fall admission? When is it best to apply for a fall admission? Let me know in the chat. When is it best to apply for a fall admission? When is it best or better to apply for a fall admission? Say that to me. Let me see that in the chat. When is it best to apply for a fall admission? It is best to apply from October, November, December, up till January, February, March. Exactly. October to March. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Oluseun. Thank you, Oluseun. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you, Abiodun. Thank you, Islamiat. Who else is following? Thank you, Aramide. Make sure you are engaging in the chat. Don't just be here. Don't say some people have written it already. I want to see your presence in the chat. I want to see your name in the chat. I want to know you are participating actively, right? I want to see your presence in the chat, and I want to see that you're participating actively, right? So let's get into it. So let's go to the next point. So now that we understand the seasons, Now, I'm going to take as many questions as possible, so it is not time for questions yet, please. So step number 3, what is your application story? That's the next thing you need to clarify. Before you can begin to say, okay, where do I now apply? Now I know that this is a short-term plan for me. I know that this is, I know the application season and I'm ready to apply. Oh yes, don't just jump and start applying. Oh, don't just feel excited and say, I know everything. You don't really know everything, because I also do not still know everything, right? So what is your application story? That is the next question. What is your application story? Your application story here refers to your motivation for choosing to want to study abroad. Your motivation for choosing to want to study abroad. That is your application story, right? Your application story is what? Your motivation for choosing to want to study abroad. Your motivation for choosing to want to study abroad. That's your application story. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about what you need to do to define your application story. To define your application story, first of all, you need to ask yourself, what are the things that you're interested in? I mean, ask yourself questions like, what are the things that you want to see happen in the world? So I'm asking you all those questions. Begin to respond in the chat. What are the things that make you cry? Write in the chat. What are the things that make you happy? Write in the chat. What are the things that you want to be able to change in the world? Write it in the chat. What are the things that you want to do for the rest of your life if money was not your problem? Write that in the chat. What are the things that inspire you? Or who are the people that inspire you? Number 1, what makes you happy? Writing new stories, right? Okay, hear the sound from, please, we can hear sound from the background. I'm not sure the sound from the background is from here. Please, if you're not muted, try to be muted. Try to be muted. So what are the things that make you happy? What are the things that makes you sad? What are the things that you want to see happen in the world? Okay? What would you want to do if money was not your problem? Be as specific as possible. Don't just say, meeting people make you happy. Food make you happy. You should be able to say, okay, I love to eat rice with chicken. I mean, there are different kinds of rice, right? Be specific by saying, oh, I love jollof rice. If that is what makes you happy, I'm not saying you should write jollof rice, right? You need to just be specific about what you mean by innovation. When you say innovation and invention, what are you talking about? When you say, okay, I want to see children happy. Why do you want to see children happy? I want to reduce the rates of suicide among young people. Okay, photography makes you happy because you love pictures that tell story. What kind of story? Is this story that would inspire people to not commit suicide, or stories that would help people build lasting relationships, or stories that are therapeutic? You need to be specific. Broadcasting and journalism. You want to impact society through voice. What kind of voice? There are several issues. Are you talking about voice for the oppressed, or voice for people that are victims of police brutality? You need to be specific. So when you know your story, right, you can then choose the keywords that connect or that are surfacing from your story to be able to narrow down what you want to apply for. If you're speaking, please be muted. If it is not your turn to speak yet, please be muted. I beg you. Right? Please be muted. I do not want noise. I do not want noise. Please be muted. I do not want noise. Please be muted. Please be muted. Please be muted. Thank you. And if you think your video will distract us, please pause your video so that folks here can pay attention. All right, someone says, I want to indulge in molecular biology and specialize in genetic engineering. This will help me to come up with genetic engineering plant species with cycle. Now, this makes sense, right? For whosoever has written this. I think Robert, this is good, but this you must explain for a layman. You have used words that will make sense to those in your field. How about you explaining it to someone who doesn't even know what you want to do, right? So once you know your application story, the next thing you want to do is to narrow down the keywords that's come out of your story. So journalism is a keyword, broadcasting is a keyword, social change is a keyword. I see another keyword here, bioengineering, genetics. Those are keywords, right, from your interest. When you know the keywords from your interest, or people, or children, or mental health, once you know those keywords, right, it is easier for you to pitch or connect with potential advisors based on these keywords. It is the keywords that will tell you the kind of course or the likely programs you should apply for. For instance, if the keyword journalism surfaces in your interest, or the keyword engineering surfaces in your interest, or the keyword mental health surfaces in your interest, then you know that courses like psychology, courses like social work, courses like human rights advocacy, or journalism, these are the things that you want to position yourself for. If engineering surfaces in your keyword, maybe courses like environmental engineering or biological engineering are courses you should aim for. If keywords like biology or biochemistry or whatever, or all of these words, I beg your pardon, surface or come up in your interests, then you can position yourself for programs in those areas, yes. So now let's talk about one thing that you need right now to build your application story. I have an offer for October the 1st, and it is just $1. If you go through this guide, or if you get this guide right now, you will learn how to build an application story. I make this very affordable so that everyone and anyone can write an application story that connects with potential advisors. It is possible that you know that there are schools abroad already, but how do you write a scholarship application story? I mean, how exactly do you connect that your personal story with what schools are looking for, with what professors are looking for, with what a funding organization or body wants you to write? And most importantly, how do you make sure that every document that you want to submit for your application sells you or says the same thing or resonates telling just one story? And that is the power of learning how to write your application story. And if you get this guide right now, which is just $1 or 500 naira in Nigerian naira, if you follow the account information here, you will get access to this offer right now. So I'm going to be dropping the link in the chat while I proceed to talk about the next part of this session. Are we good? Let me know if you're following. So this offer is basically open and is accessible, especially, this is actually my October 1 offer. So if you want this offer right now, you can use my website, or perhaps take a screenshot of what you can see on the screen so that you can get access to this offer. Now let's proceed. Now the next point, step number 4, identify schools with funding. Step number 4, identify schools with funding. Now that you know what your application story is, what you want to do is to identify schools with funding. How do you identify schools with funding? Using the keywords from your interests. So if you identify the keywords, you know the likely things you should search for on Google. So you go to Google, for instance, you should put keywords that relate to your interest. Courses in mental health, courses in broadcasting, courses in journalism, or schools with programs in journalism. Universities in Canada, journalism. Universities in USA, journalism. Universities in Canada, biochemistry. Universities in USA, biochemistry. So I want some of you, based on what I've just taught you, to write in the charts. I'm talking about universities in USA and Canada. So I have just used Canada and USA for my description. So I want some people to drop the name, the likely keywords that relate to their likely courses, and I can use that to give further clarity. I can use that to give further clarity. So based on what you have learned today, drop in the chat the keywords that relate to your interest. And then I'll use that to give 1 or 2 examples quickly so that we can go to the next part of this conversation. Applied mathematics. So the thing you want to do is to go online and write applied mathematics, USA universities, applied mathematics, Canadian universities, fluid mechanics, Canadian universities, USA universities, journalism, USA universities, journalism, universities in Canada, dentistry, universities in Canada, journalism. Now, do you know the best way to do this, to niche down? I will give you another keyword formula. I call that the term formula. So add this up, write this in the chat, write country, course plus term and year. Country plus course plus term plus year. Write it in the chat. Country plus course plus term plus year. Now, what does that mean? I want someone to write country plus course plus term plus year. Country, USA, course, journalism, term, spring, year 2022, for instance. Country, Canada, course, biochemistry, term, fall, year 2022. 2033 is a long term, 2022, right? 2023. In fact, start with 2021. You could put 2021, you could put 2022. That way, you are narrowing down your search, and there is no way you will not find schools with funding. Now, how do you then go from here? And that brings me to the next part of this conversation. So now that you know about application story, you know about the term to apply, you know if this is a short term or a long term for you, the next thing you want to ask yourself, or that you want to do, is to actually get started. And so you need a guide. You need a resource that contains a list of schools with funding, a list of schools with application fee waivers, and that is why I want to recommend to you my PDF guide. This book is your actual go-to guide in order to be able to identify schools with funding. I mean, in this book, which is for $40, you're going to be learning, number one, the list of schools with funding. You're going to be learning how you will connect to these schools based on these keyword search and how to narrow down your search. Most importantly, you're going to be learning how to actually connect with these different professors in these different schools and what you need to put together in your letter of introduction in order to connect to potential advisors. And of course, when you get to that point that you need to actually apply, you're going to be getting access to, you are going to be learning how to build your statement of purpose, resume, and recommendation letters. Everything you need to begin right now is in this book. Now, this book is downloadable, but you cannot share it. You can download it, but you cannot share with anyone. And you cannot copy the words, but you can read and have access to it anytime, any day. Now, in addition to getting this book, you become a permanent member of my community. I repeat, you become a permanent member of my community. I have a Facebook Academy that I'm going to be showing you later in this session, if time permits. In this Facebook group, there are a lot of scholars looking to also study abroad. Now, let me share with you very quickly a screenshot that gives you an impression of what it feels like to be in my academy. Now, let me show you. I want to show you my Facebook Academy, right? I'm going to be showing you my Facebook Academy. Awesome. So I hope I'm able to show you. If not, we will do this some other time. Awesome. Yes, this is me. I'm not sure I can remember my password. Okay. Let's go to something else. Let's continue this conversation. We can come back to this later. I cannot remember my password, so I'm going to continue to share my screen right now. So now, one of the things you need to know is you need a community. You can't just buy a book and say, yes, I know everything. A book, yes, is a guide to walk you through the process, but knowing or becoming a part of a community is something that would also guide you so that on a step-by-step basis, you will have clarity. For those who belong to my inner circle, some of them are in this meeting. If you belong to my inner circle and you are in this meeting, please drop a chat so that people who are here will know the kind of things we do in my inner circle. In my inner circle, we meet on a bi-weekly basis, and I just offer free clarity. So maybe there's something you have read in the book that doesn't make sense. I give you clarity, right? Maybe there's something that you have learned. I'm thinking that you have seen somewhere else, but you have no understanding about, or you just want me to guide you on. One good thing is being a part of this community would help you. And you're also going to be getting accountability partners all for free. But yet you cannot get into this inner circle without getting a product, because we meet on a bi-weekly basis on Zoom. Now let's go on. Now that you have learned about application story, now that you know whether this is a short-term or long-term plan, now that you know whether you know your application story to begin with, and you know the term you want to aim for, now that you know what your application story is, now that you know how to identify schools with funding, especially that you believe that you're going to get my book. I believe you're going to buy this book today. Now that you know all of that, the next thing is you want to connect to professors, right? It's not just enough to buy a book. You need to work. You need to do the work, and the work is connecting with professors. How do you connect to professors? To connect with professors, you need to write what I call letter of introduction. Writing letters of introduction is the best way to connect to professors. And to write a letter of introduction, you need to know your application story. And that brings me back to my very first offer. You cannot miss this offer if you must know application story. Because if you do not know an application story, there is no way you can actually connect to professors. Now, if you want to connect to professors, there are things you need to get right. You need to know what your interest is and how that interest connects with that of the advisor. Now, once you know that, it makes it easy for you to establish conversation. And establishing conversation through email and attaching your other documents is the first step to beginning this entire process. Now, when you do that, you put yourself out there and you're selling yourself to potential advisors. When you do that, you're increasing your chances of getting admitted with funding. When you do this, that's not what gets you funding, right? But that is what opens the door. It helps you put yourself out there. When you do not market something, you can't even get people to buy. And so the idea of connecting with professors is the actual strategy of reaching out, prospecting in order to sell. Now, when you do that, you are going to then get potential advisors who will show interest in you. And when they do, you are going to get one thing: good feedbacks that encourages you to apply. Now, the next thing is you want to apply. To prepare to apply, there is no other place than the website of schools. Don't let anybody say, submit your document to my email, I will apply for you. Don't go that route. Don't let anybody say to you, oh, when you do this, I'm going to help you. Don't let anybody bamboozle you into that kind of mindset. right? Don't let anybody make you think that they can do it for you when you can actually have access to all the information online. Everything you need is out there. It's like breath, it's like oxygen. I mean, the air is out there. You just need to breathe and take it in. The abundance that I talk about is in the universe. And so the idea of preparing your application to apply simply means that everything you need to apply is out there, but you just need to what? Put yourself out there and connect to professors. Does that make sense? Let me know if you all are still following me in the chat. I don't want to lose you all. I don't want to lose the attention of everybody. We're coming to the end of this part so that I can take questions. Preparing to apply, there are a number of documents that you need to apply. There are a number of documents that you need to apply. So what are those documents? Right? There are a number of documents that you need to apply. Let me talk a little bit about those documents. Number one, write them in the chat. You need your statement of purpose. You will find out in my book. You need a statement of purpose. You need recommendation letters. You need recommendation letter, statement of purpose. You need your resume or CV. And of course, you also need your transcripts. Your transcript, either the undergraduate transcript or your graduate transcript or high school results. Even if it is your diploma results, you need your transcript, whether it's an HND result or OND transcript or a secondary school transcript or a transcript that shows that you have taken the WAEC exam or the NECO examination or senior secondary school examination. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Please let me know what you think, if this is making sense to you or not. So based on what I've said so far, all of these documents are what you need to put together to actually apply. So now that you know what you need to apply, now step number 6 of 6, I have defined a number of things. Within step number 6, right, you need to hunt down schools with waiver. When you are preparing to apply, step 6, number 1 is what? Hunt down schools with waivers, right? And these schools are in my book. You don't even need to start looking for them. Okay? These schools are in my book. Okay? Hunt down schools with waivers. That's one thing I will tell you in addition to preparing all these documents. Step 6 of 6 again is count your costs. Count your costs. So some people would be asking me, will be thinking right now, so do I need money? What do I need to pay for? You don't need to pay money to these schools to admit you, but you need to pay for application fees. But if you know the schools that offer application fees, guess what? You don't even need to pay. If you know schools that offer application fee waivers, you don't need to pay. And all of these schools are in my book. At least, if not all of them, you'll find useful schools and you will also find useful strategies for finding out more. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if this makes sense. Let me know in the chat, please, if this makes sense. I'm still here and I'm still engaging and I'm still live and direct, live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, streaming live to the world. So let's keep this engagement going. Now, maybe you're wondering right now, think about what I've said, that you need a statement of purpose. You need resume. You need recommendation letters. Everything that are so integral to your application, you'll find templates in my book. In addition to those templates, you will find cheat sheets, hacks, list of schools with waivers, and a few schools with application fee waivers and test score waivers. Sometimes a lot of schools will say, oh, you need to write TOEFL, GRE, or the SAT if it is an undergraduate program, or the ACT if it is an undergraduate program, right? Depending on what the school is asking of you. A lot of times, many people are not able to afford all of this. So that is why that question about what? Counting your costs, okay? This very phrase, count your cost, is very important. And in order to avoid all of these, important things that you need to take care of yourself, Because yes, schools will give you funding, but they will not prepare your application for you. They will not get your transcript for you. They will not do all of these things for you. If you need to get all of these things done by yourself, you'll find them in my book. You'll find them in my book. Okay, so now let's assume that you're here right now and you want something beyond just, buying, getting this starter kit. This is a starter kit. The starter kit is how to write a scholarship application story. Now, if you want this right now, follow the information on the screen and pay immediately. Pay right now, because you are not going to ever get this offer again. When you pay, you can be added to the wait list so that when the book is released, you get access to it immediately. You can follow the description on the screen to pay right now so you get access to this resource. Now, maybe you want my guide. You can follow the description on this video to pay right now so that you can get this offer today. You don't want to miss this offer. You don't want to miss this offer. Let's even assume that you want an extra support. You want something beyond just getting my book, right? You want something beyond the starter kit. You want my undivided attention for a period of time, for 6 months in a private community, getting access to everything that I've been sharing with scholars across the globe. Maybe you don't want to just do it yourself. You want that intensive support with other people working with a very strict timeline, right? Strict timeline within a strict community with strict access to customized template resources, such as my starter kit for free, such as my book for free, such as my online course for free, and access to group support for free. If all of those things are what you want, right? In addition to my presence and access to all essay templates that different scholars have used, access to ASK for identifying schools with waivers, ASK for negotiating waivers, lifetime access to everything, and accountability partner for a period of time. Instead of paying $999 or $1,000, you get access to everything here for $99 or approximately $100 only. So how do you pay? How do you pay, right? The best way to pay is to what? Pay 50,000 Naira or $100. Sorry, this is a typographical error. This is not $40. For this one, it is $100 or 50,000 Naira, or you pay via my website. So if you follow the link right now, I'm going to drop the links in the chats for those who want to be among the fast action takers. Be among the fast action takers. Don't waste time. It is now time for you to connect with me on social media, and it is now time for me to take questions. So before I do that, I'm going to do one thing very quickly. I'm going to number one, offline payments. Offline payment for any of the 3 offers. Okay, I'm going to type it in the chat. The bank is GTB. The name is Bisola-Mariam, and it's a savings account. Those are the information in the chat for offline payments. Number one offer is the starter kits. Is only 500 Naira. 500 Naira. The e-guide or the hack book, we actually call it the hack book in the community. The hack book is 20,000 Naira. Or now it is 20,000 Naira because remember, you're still going to be a part of my community on Facebook. Remember that. So I'm going to drop the link to that Facebook community. I do not know if one of my scholars is here, Scholar Gordon, or any member in the inner circle. If you are here, please drop a link to the inner circle so that people can click on the link to kind of get a virtual sense of what it feels like to be in our community. They will not be able to join because an admin has to admit them, but at least they have an idea of the number of people in that community. Okay? So I'm dropping the details for everything. The 100 Scholars Club. This is like the one that I recently launched. Is 50,000 naira. Or please don't go. I'm going to take all your questions. Do not go. Do not go. If you leave, you might not be able to get this chance ever again. Every week, I talk to a new set of scholars on a weekly basis. So if you leave the meeting, you will not be able to get your answers. In addition to all that I've said, even if you're not buying any products, you want more answers, and this is the place to get it. You will not get it twice for free. So get all the answers you need to get, even if you're not buying a product or service right now. But of course, you will stand to gain even more if you choose to buy. So in order to get my offers online option, this is my online option. I'm going to just drop one link right now. Go to seller.co. And now I'm actually referring to the Facebook. Yes, they can join the WhatsApp inner circle too. Thank you, Mariam, for dropping. So if you want to join our WhatsApp inner circle, it is for free. Please follow the link that Mariam has just dropped in the chat to join. The WhatsApp inner circle is FOC, free of charge. But I do not know if Scholar Gordon is here so that he can drop the link to the Facebook inner circle. The Facebook inner circle is for anybody who has either bought my starter kits, my ARC book, or in the premium coaching. So it is an inclusive community for anyone who has committed something, no matter how small, to buying my products. And in that community, it is a community for people who want to focus on that goal. So you don't want to be in the crowd, right? If you want to be in the community for scholars looking to study abroad, then buy any of my products before the end of today. If you don't want to be in the crowd, this meeting is for the crowd, and I will always do this on a weekly basis, but with a different set of audience on a weekly basis. You may not be able to join the next meeting. I do this weekly, but for different group of people. So let's talk about my web. Let me share the last link to get my offers online. To get my offers online, I'm going to take questions right now. I do not know if Scholar Gordon is here. Bisola-Mariam .seller.co. Let me see. I want to turn on my video, but before I do that, I want to show you some video testimonies, right? I want to show you some video testimony from my YouTube channel. So that, number one, in addition to everything, you need to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. You need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, let's do this. Awesome. So this is me sharing my YouTube channel, youtube.com/. Going to my YouTube channel. Oh, sorry, I didn't type that properly. Yes, that's the link to my channel. So if you are in this meeting right now and you want to keep hearing from me, if of course you are never able to still join my live, free clarity call, you can always join my free live session on my channel. On this YouTube channel, see all the plenty questions on your mind. I post videos on a daily or weekly, or maybe every two days, or depending on my schedule. You will find useful content here, and you want to be on this channel. This is where you can gain even more clarity, more than what I've shared today. So before I paste the link to my YouTube channel, I'm going to show you my store. I want to show you my store so you see what my store looks like. I'm going to show you my store. Okay, let's go to, I'm trying to get this out of my way. So let's see. Let me know if you can still see my screen. So this is bisola-mariam.seller.co. Yeah. So this is my store. My store is where you can find my products, as in my premium packages, my every product you can think of. This is where you find it on my store. So I'm going to share with you the link to my YouTube channel so that you can also subscribe. Now, let me take questions right now. Please, if you have questions, it is time to unmute yourself so that I can take your questions. Thank you so much for coming. I'm sorry if I've taken more than your time. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk about this part, maybe some other time. And the next thing you want to do is to plan for your visa. Let me talk about this in 1 minute. A lot of people believe that getting a scholarship is all that they need to be able to study abroad. It doesn't stop there. If you do not plan for your visa interview, you will be denied visa. And a visa is what gets you access to these countries. It's not the funding. Funding is what qualifies you to get a visa, but visa is what gives you entrance. Does that make sense? So I have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel where I've talked about visa questions. Let's take questions. It is time to talk. Let's take questions. It is time to talk. I mean, you can see my face now. Let's get real. Let's take questions, and most importantly, connect with me on social media. Connect with me on Instagram right now. My name on Instagram is Bisola-Mariam_SDG10. On Facebook and LinkedIn, I am Bisola-Mariam. Okay, this is the link to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be listening to you all. If you have a question, just jump straight in and let me take your questions. Jump straight in and I will take your questions. You can unmute yourself if you want to speak, but I'm going to be checking the chat also. So we have the next 10 minutes to take questions. We have the next 10 minutes to take questions. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, ma.
Hey, good
This
evening,
is
Scholar
Gordon.
Gordon. Do you have the link to our Facebook Academy?
Oh, this is King.
If you do, please paste it in the chat so that I can show people how to have what our inner circle looks like. But if you don't, please go ahead and ask your question. I know you have a question. Please get into it.
Okay. Okay, I'll get the link. But meanwhile, I'll just go ahead with my question. My question is about the difference in
you have
the
1
CGPA
minute.
system.
You have 1 minute though.
Difference in CGPA system between Nigeria and US,
and Canada,
so to speak.
And where?
And USA or Canada.
Okay, so the difference. How do you what?
How do I convert my own CGPA to their own standard?
So I have a video on my channel. Your question is you want to be able to learn how to convert your CGPA, right?
Yes.
Okay, so look at what I'm doing. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? I can't hear you.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Good.
I can see
your
screen.
If you can see my screen, look at what I just did on my own page. I went to search, and if you're looking for anything on my channel, just go to home page of my channel and click on search. This is what I'm doing. I am trying to find a video on how to convert CGPA. This is one of the most, watched video on my channel. So to answer that question, I'm going to refer you to what? To this video. This is how to convert your CGPA. Can you see what I'm doing? Let me see if I can share sound. Can you hear?
Okay, good evening. Hello.
The voice is not important as getting the link. So I'm going to copy the link for anyone who wants to learn how to convert CGPA.
also known as
Sounds good?
SEC.
Let me take other
Today, I
questions.
want to show you how
I won't be
to
able to let
evaluate
you
your
watch till the end,
transcripts
but this is something you
using
can check out
Westdot.
yourself on my channel. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So I hope that answers your question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I'll look at the video, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes. When you look at the video, and of course, if you still have question, there will definitely be another time like this. But I believe that if you follow through with that video, there will be no cause for alarm and you'll be good. So let me take other questions. Let me take other questions. Who else has, let me look at the chat now. I think I've missed some questions in the chat. Okay, someone says I got 2 partial scholarships from different universities. Is there a way to get fully funded or a university to apply for in USA that gives full funding? The simple and the most proven way to get fully funded is to actually connect with schools with assistantship positions, right? Connect with schools with assistantship positions. Does that make sense? So how do you connect with schools with funding? I have also done a video on my YouTube channel that exposes you to even learn more. Does that make sense? Temiloluwa, does that answer your question? So yes, to get schools with funding, look for schools with assistantship positions. You could go to Google and just type assistantship positions with the keyword formula that I gave you. Add assistantships as a keyword, right? Go to Google and type that. If, of course, you want a guide that would simplify this process, get my book. If, of course, you want to still do it yourself, which will waste your time, and you won't have undivided access to me in my inner circle, and you may never be able to do it fast enough, except if you're going to be doing it full time, then you can actually use my YouTube channel to walk yourself through the process. Remember, I have pasted the link to my channel. Go and subscribe right now. Don't wait till tomorrow, because the video that I'm sharing with you, the replay will be available on my channel. For only those who watch, who have access to my channel, I mean, for only those who subscribe will be able to watch the video, including the one on how to evaluate your transcript and as many other questions you may possibly have. Let me see the other questions in the chat. I'm trying to see the chat. If I've missed your question, please kindly repost those questions. I have people from Kenya. I have folks from Kenya. So let me see your questions in the chats.
Hello?
Is someone talking?
Yeah, I'm talking. Sorry.
Okay, please go on. Who is speaking?
This is Robert.
Okay, Robert, I can hear you. Robert from Kenya.
Yeah, from Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria. Okay, I'm listening.
Sorry.
You have 1 minute and your time starts now.
Okay, I'm sorry. I actually just came online because my phone was down since then, so I just had it charged. I know that you discussed a lot about this program, but I've not heard anything. Please, how can I join, or how can you review those things that you've taught before? And what are the things I need to know quick so I don't waste much time, please? Sorry.
Okay, so are you really interested in learning about all that I've shared today?
My dear, if I'm not interested, I would have joined.
No, I know, but there's a reason I'm asking you. I'm just being sarcastic, but are you seriously interested, sir?
I'm seriously interested.
Good. I know you are. I know you are. But there's a reason I am asking you that funny question, and I will tell you the reason I'm asking you. The reason I'm asking you that funny question is because this session is being streamed live on my YouTube channel. So for instance, once I end this live call, you can find the replay on my channel. And why did I say, are you seriously interested? Because a lot of people want you to, say things to them live. Not many people are able to follow up and do the work, even when that face is not there. So yes, you will see my face live and direct. But unfortunately, are you saying something?
Can you see me?
I can see you. I can see you.
Okay.
I can see you have a leather like, you know, wear, and it looks really nice on you. And you have an AirPod to your left and to your right, and then the nice AirPod. So I can see you. So what I'm basically saying is, my face will not be here 247. And this is one thing I always tell people. Oh, you love to see my face. Oh, you love to hear my voice. You love to feel my vibration. It makes sense, but you can't see me all the time. Like, I know I had to sacrifice my work, my schoolwork to be here live. And so the much I can do is to come here once a week live. And I always encourage people to what? Spend time on my YouTube channel. I might not be able to come here to spend over an hour to have amazing conversations with you all, but I go live in between my very busy schedule to record videos and upload. 10 minutes, I can do that. 15 minutes, I can do that, but I can't do 1 hour every day of the week. So that's why I simply said, if you're seriously interested in listening to everything that I've said, I will post the link to my YouTube channel one more time in the chat so you can catch the replay. Because if you watch the replay, it would answer the questions. And again, you can click on the link to my inner circle. I would like for Mariam, if she's still here, to post the link to my WhatsApp inner circle. I will post the replay to everybody again. I will share it with you. So yes, if you're on my list, on my WhatsApp list, I will definitely send the broadcast tonight to everybody. So if you have missed any part, don't worry. As long as the desire is stronger than your ability to be physically present, guess what? You're good. That's all that matters. And so when you receive that link, just take out time to watch the video. I hope that clarifies something for you.
It clarifies a lot of things.
Thank you so much. So any other question before we log out? Finally, if there's any other question for those who have joined so far, do you have any question, Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, I actually do have a question, but I don't know what you've discussed so far.
I didn't hear you.
I think I have another question,
Okay.
but I don't know what you've discussed so far.
So there's no way you can ask, I understand.
Yeah, because I just have a selfish question within me.
It makes sense.
The question I'm supposed to ask is, it should link connected to what you've spoken.
I've said. So you know what I would ask you to do? Watch the video and prepare your questions for the next Speak Clarity call next week. Does that make sense? Yes, this is something I do on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So you'll be the only person from the old batch that I would give room to ask questions, because on a weekly basis I book a new set of people. So yes, considering that you came in late and you are making this request, I would ask you to watch the video, pen down all your questions and bring them live next week. And I will give you alone access to, that opportunity to ask your question before others ask their questions. So you can only get that if you come live. Does that make sense?
It does.
Good. So let me have other people who have questions. If you have other questions, I'm trying to check the chat. Please don't hesitate to follow me right now. You can't come here and not still continue to get ginger. To keep getting the vibe, the motivation and everything, you need to connect with me. And I do not know if you all have my WhatsApp.
Hello, ma.
Who is talking? Unmute yourself and please speak. I can hear you.
I'll unmute myself. I'm Joyce.
We are talking. We can hear you.
Rejoice.
We can hear you. Keep speaking.
Yes. Yeah. I came in very late, so I don't understand anything.
Then you watch the replay.
Class?
Watch the replay.
Okay.
Or come to the next class.
On YouTube, right?
You said?
I can do it on YouTube.
Yes, the replay is on my YouTube channel and I'm going to be sharing the link.
Hello. Okay, I'll do that right now.
Please, if you're not speaking, be muted. Who else is on the floor? Who else wants to speak?
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Tabot, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, good evening.
That will be the last question for today. You have 1 minute and
Yeah.
please proceed.
Yeah, you talk about the time frame of applying for fall scholarship. You talk about fall scholarship starting application by, is it October?
You have 1 minute and you haven't asked the question.
October, November, December.
You are repeating what I've said. I want a question, sir.
I want to ask a question.
Because you have 1 minute. I just want you to be able to say it in a minute.
I know.
Okay.
Because what I learned is for international students to apply for schools or abroad, they need a time frame of 6 months.
And it can be shorter depending on how vigorous you go about it.
Okay. Because what I always know is about 6 month time interval, so that.
And it can be more. It can even be 10 years. It can be 100 years if you don't do anything.
No. On the short term.
On the short term. I mean, a short term can even become a long-term plan if you start and you pause, you break, you don't do things. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I know.
Is there any other question?
No further question.
Okay, so there's another question, and before you go, I would like to share with you 2 video reviews from people who have benefited from my services in the past. So last question that I'm reading in the chat, I'm sorry if I'm not reading your question or if I missed it, don't take offense. I'm multitasking. So, but the last question that I see in the chat that I'm going to answer is, can I send letter of introduction to 2 or 3 advisors in the same department whose academic interest is same with one? I don't understand this question, but my interpretation is, can you send letter of introduction to 2 to 3 people in the same? Oh no, if they have the same interest, try to get the attention of one first. If you are not able to make headway with one, then you can open conversation with another. Don't try to date 2 people when both of them are saying, yes, I want you. Does that make sense? Does that analogy explains or answers your question for the scholar Sadiq? Hello? Does that analogy, does it help?
Almost.
I don't know if that person even got the feedback, but I hope others understand what I've just said. So I'm going to be showing you some video reviews. So now let me share with you. If you're not speaking, be muted. Please be muted. Please be muted. Please be muted.
Hello?
Please be muted. Please be muted if you're not speaking. Please be muted if you're not speaking. If you want to say anything else, drop a chat. I am done taking in-person questions. I can still read your chat. I want to stream a couple of videos right now. So I'm going to be sharing with you testimonies from other scholars. Number 1, let me share with you this testimony.
Hi, my name is Mariam.
Give me a moment. I want to share sound. Okay, I'm sharing sound already.
I'm a prospective MSc.
If you can hear this video loud and clear, please let me know in the chat.
I've been trying to apply for scholarships, but I've not been lucky. So I just stumbled on Mrs. Bisola-Mariam's LinkedIn post one day, and she said she's going to be hosting like a webinar. So I attended the webinar.
Can you hear?
To her contact on WhatsApp since then. So she held a class at one point in time, and I just thought to just give that class a try. Like I've been sent.
Can you hear what she's saying? Can you hear? When I said dating 2 people with regards to application, what I'm saying is don't talk to 2 people at the same time. Don't date 2 people at the same time. Date 1 person per time. So I talked about how dating 2 people can be catastrophic. So my point exactly is don't try to relate with 2 professors with the same interest at the same time. So I will go back to the video. I hope that answers your question.
Class on letter of introduction, how to write a letter of introduction. I'm like, okay, let me just give it a try. It's not.
This is the one you
Hi,
need.
my name is Mariam Adegwega, and I'm a prospective MSc student. So for the past 6 months, I've been trying to reach out to potential supervisors. I've been trying to apply for scholarships, but I've not been lucky. So I just stumbled on Mrs. Bisola-Mariam's LinkedIn post one day, and she said she's going to be hosting like a webinar. So I attended the webinar, and I've been added to her contact on WhatsApp since then. So she held a class at one point in time, and I just thought to just give that class a try. Like I've been sending messages, not like I know like she's going to be hosting a class on letter of introduction, how to write a letter of introduction. I'm like, okay, let me just give it a try. It's not hard, it's not bad to try. Trust me, after this class I learned something called PCG formula, and I tried it, and I sent a message to a supervisor, and I got the response the same day. Pay attention to the pictures I'm sharing, pay attention to the dates. So I just wanted to share. It's not like I've been paid for this. I wasn't paid for this. Like I know there are so many people like me out there, and I feel like this could really, really help you. Don't try to work it out alone. Just reach out to someone who knows it. And I'm glad I actually reached out to Mrs. Bisola-Mariam because she has been more than helpful. If you are needing help or applying for school, just contact this woman. She knows her onions. Hi, my name is Mariam Adegwega, and I'm a prospective MSc student. So for the past 6.
So I want to show you a video from someone who just relocated abroad that just kind of confirms what.
David Adebayo, an Erasmus Plus scholar, currently in France, Strasbourg, from a program in European Triculture. So I want to talk about Bisola's book. I read the book back then in February, and I wanted to apply for so many scholarships back then. So I heard about US scholarships, they offered assistantship and so assistantship, but I didn't want to apply because I heard they had to pay application fee. Then IELTS and TOEFL are kind of required, so there is no way they can waive it. But fortunately, I found a book on Facebook, and I emailed the necessary book to me. So when I read the book, I realized that all the ideas I had about the US scholarship application are not really true. That there are some schools that offer a fee waiver, and some of them do waive the IELTS. So that's how I went through the list of schools to give them. So one of the schools, we have Brown University. I emailed them. I wanted to apply that time. I got in touch with the student, and she gave us tips on how to apply for US schools. So at the end, I later got a PhD offer at the University of Alabama, and I used the tips that she gave me there to apply for the scholarship. So I got the PhD offer with the funding, but I later decided to come for the Erasmus Plus. Then later, hopefully, I will go back to the US for the PhD. So thank you very much.
I've had this dream, finance to fund yourself personally is something that is a headache when you think of how expensive it can be. But since a friend of mine just shared her Facebook uh, content with me, and since then I've just been following her, and she has organized a lot of free sessions on Zoom. And not only that, I have literally been sleeping on her YouTube page because the immense amount of knowledge I gain from that place is just so amazing. Sincerely speaking, I am really, really grateful from the bottom of my heart because you have enlightened me and also revived the hope of studying abroad in me. And since then, the journey has been really sweet because I've learned how to write letter of introduction, how to link up with advisors that will help you and make the journey easy for you, how to identify institution of your of choice for your course, and also the documents that you need to prepare. Sincerely, there are some.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen And I want to pause that video so that we can wrap up. So some people are saying that they cannot hear the success story. This is what I would do. I'm dropping a link to my YouTube channel again, www.youtube.com/Bisola-Mariam. You would find all the testimonies there. Alternatively, you can go to go to my website actually, bisola-mariam.com/October 1 offer. Everything you need, I just pasted them in the chat, okay? I just pasted them in the chat. And if you have any other thoughts, questions, concerns, if you spend time on that YouTube channel, you get more insight. And most importantly, do not miss these offers. So maybe you want to work with me on a one-on-one is not me, you alone. One-on-one is group coaching, right? Think about it. One-on-one is not me, you. One-on-one is group coaching. And there are different options depending on what you can afford. This is a 100 Scholars Club program with 6-month coaching, with access to my hacks, strategies, tools, and resources. I won't do your work for you. I would only guide you. So if you are looking for someone who would replace you, then you don't belong to any of my programs. My programs are for people who just need to be guided, who are looking to get clarity, but who need support. So this is my WhatsApp number, and you can connect with me on WhatsApp. And if you want the book instead, this is the book. The book is also a guide, and this gives you access to my Facebook community. And if, of course, you just even want to commit yourself to getting more clarity right now, then you can get my October 1 offer. And it is just $1 or 500 naira. All of those offers you don't want to miss, because from time to time, I update and upgrade my resources, and their prices, value, they keep changing and things keep evolving. So do not miss these offers if they sound like what you need right now to proceed forward. And most importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for coming. Someone is not muted. I will be leaving this meeting right now. Please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Don't disturb our meeting. Who has any final thoughts? What have you gained so far? Let me have feedbacks from everybody. What would you say? If you think you're bold enough to, show your face and let me see you and let others hear your feedback, was this what you expected? Or did this meet your expectation or not? Did this meet your expectation? Please let me know if this meets your expectation. If you did not, you can also let me have your feedbacks. So I'm taking feedbacks right now. Let me have your feedbacks. Was this what you thought you were going to learn? Was this session useful? If it wasn't useful, you can let me know so that I can adjust and keep improving, so that the next time we're meeting, we're going to be having a better a better outing. Someone is asking for the link to the group. Let me see. I'm going to copy that link. I hope I'll be able to find the link. So this is my group. This is the group. Okay. Someone said you came very late. So this is what the Facebook Academy looks like. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's go back. I want feedbacks. If you know you were here from the very beginning, let me see your face. Unmute yourself, or I will call you out. Aramide was here. Temiloluwa was here. I think Eje Samuel, I'm not sure, was here from the beginning. If you were here from the very beginning, I want you to, let's see what you have learned, and, basically just show your face so that we can take feedbacks. Can you verbalize your feedback? I have been talking for over 1 hour, so I want you to verbalize your feedback so that we know what you expected to learn, what you have gained, if of course meet your expectation, and how would you rate this live session? Even if it is 1% rating or 2% or 5%, just say something. That way we get a clue or a sense of what you really wanted, or maybe you got it or not. Is there anyone who wants to unmute and verbally give feedback instead of typing? You all have been typing since.
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so I really want to say very big
We can't see your face, or you don't want to show us your face.
Oh.
Please, let's see the beautiful face. If you want, if you don't want, that's fine. But I mean, that helps others put a face to what we're doing here, if you feel comfortable with that. If not, go ahead and start talking.
Okay, I'm trying to start. Okay, can you hear me?
All righty, we're seeing the fine face now.
Okay, so it was really insightful. I mean, I'm happy that I joined tonight.
What did you expect to learn?
Class.
What did you expect to learn?
Yes, I actually had quite a number of questions in mind which you addressed tonight. For example, the part where somebody asked if you can talk to 2 professors in a department, and you already explained that to us that we should not date, date 2 people. Then before now, I couldn't streamline, I couldn't just narrow down my idea. I've always been talking about broadcast journalism, but I just didn't know what problem I wanted to solve in the society. So now I have to go back, really narrow it down and know what exactly I am looking for. So it was really helpful, sincerely.
So would you recommend this to a friend or someone?
Definitely.
Make sure you start doing that from tonight. And please, once you get the link to the replay, let someone watch this. I mean, the information needs to get out there. And there are a lot of young people who are just being scammed because they don't have the right information. And if I can share and you can share and we all can keep sharing, the way we share NSPPD, let us share this, right? So it goes viral. And this is a gospel. A lot of people need to be liberated. If we get better, our countries can get better. Africa can get better, right? And if the opportunities are out there, then we go for it. So thank you. So what would be your rating? Sincerely, tell us what your rating would be. Is it 2, 3, 4, 5? Tell us.
If I wouldn't be exaggerating, it wouldn't be less than an 8. So I mean, I've learned a lot tonight, trust me.
What can we do better? What do you think we can do better?
Well, for now, I don't know.
Okay, so if you hope, if you happen to, okay, go on.
Yes, I think you should be able to accommodate more questions. Even though I know you were liberal, but
okay, more questions. Okay, that makes sense. So we hope that the next session we would have a timekeeper so that the main teaching doesn't go beyond 15 minutes. And so we can have the remaining 40 minutes or 35 minutes for questions. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So that way we're able to tailor it to the specific needs of the different people who join. Another problem is some people don't join on time, and then when they come, they're like, I want to ask questions. But if you didn't pay attention, there's no way you would have. But that's a good observation, and thank you. Thank you. So we'll work on that. Any other feedback?
Yeah.
Any other feedback? Any other feedback? I do not know if anyone has any feedback, but if you don't have any feedback, thank you everyone for sharing. At least we've gotten one useful feedback. Definitely the next meeting we would give more time for questions. We'll teach for 15 minutes and give more time for questions. Thank you so much, everyone. And it was such a pleasure to serve you all, and God bless you. Have a wonderful night. And remember that everything you need is in the universe. You just need to go for it. Just ask and you would receive. Asking could mean going out there to search for information. Asking could mean talking to somebody. Asking could even mean watching the replay of this video so that, of this live session, so you can have more clarity. God bless you, and remember that abundance is here. Take care. Bye.